Consumer news, special reports, and information that affects you and your wallet. This is the 8 on Your Side Consumer Podcast with News Channel 8's Stacy Scheibel.
This week, concerns over the banking and mortgage industry take center stage. A new online tool to check up on your bank or credit union, and one roadblock to offshore drilling is lifted. Plus, how ethanol is affecting your car's gas mileage, saving money on prescriptions, and healthy chocolate. I'm Stacy Scheibel. This is the 8 on Your Side Consumer Podcast for Saturday, July 19, 2008. The economy hit rougher waters this week amid concerns over the troubled mortgage industry and troubling economic numbers. On Monday, the federal government assumed control of the failing IndyMac Bank, marking the second largest bank failure in recent U.S. history. Customers lined up Monday morning to withdraw their money from the failed California bank. Congress also moved to alleviate investor concerns over the strength of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the nation's two largest mortgage holders. On Monday, NBC's Tracy Potts reported on the government response to the crisis.
This morning, the Fed took over IndyMac Bank, one of the nation's largest mortgage lenders. And despite assurances, customers camped out, eager to move their money.
We're going to put it into another bank, and, that one might go belly up any day now, too. So what are you going to do?
Analysts say those with less than $100,000 in deposits have no need to worry.
Are my deposits fully protected by FDIC insurance? If the answer to that question is yes, you can spend your time worrying about A-Rod and Madonna instead of a bank failure.
But it's not just about money. It's a crisis of confidence. Washington assured the public housing giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are solid, but it also came up with a backup plan, more credit, more oversight, and a possible government buy-in.
It's a kind of a reassurance to people that help will be there, even though we don't think it'll be needed.
All in favor? Say aye.
Today, the Federal Reserve okayed a crackdown on risky mortgages, requiring proof of income, escrow accounts, a ban on prepayment penalties,
new appliances,
clear advertising, realistic appraisals, and details on fees up front. But is it all too late? Wall Street's already worried. Economists say the government's assurances should help.
If they say that loud enough and long enough and show that they mean it, then I think confidence will be restored.
As for bank failures, it may not be over. There are 90 banks on the federal government's watch list, and analysts say those heavily invested in construction could be next. In Washington, Tracy Potts, News Channel 8.
Mortgage experts say the bailout is a relief for consumers, especially here in Florida, where the foreclosure mess has hit harder than in most states. According to RealtyTrack, 1 out of every 125 homes in Florida is in some stage of foreclosure, and the state is number 2 in the nation when it comes to foreclosures. With Congress stepping in to rescue IndyMac Bank, many have started to worry about other banks that could be on the verge of collapse. Losses from bad mortgages, losses from investments in the construction industry, and consumer fears are threatening a growing number of banks. On Tuesday, President Bush assured the public the banking industry is sound, stating the problems have more to do with people's fears and emotions than with reality.
My hope is that people take a deep breath and realize that their deposits are protected by our government.
Even so, on Thursday, securities regulators from several states raided Wachovia Security headquarters in St. Louis amid concerns over the bank's sales practices. Officials say the raid is part of a larger investigation into the $330 billion auction rate securities crisis. And locally, the Bradenton-based First Priority Bank showed up on a national watch list of troubled financial institutions. Here's News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson.
In California, fear of a bank collapse prompted federal regulators to take control of IndyMac. But President Bush says the banking industry as a whole will recover.
I think the system basically is sound. I truly do. And I understand there's a lot of nervousness. But the economy's growing. Productivity's high. Trade's up.
Locally, First Priority Bank in Bradenton is on a list generated by a research firm for ABC News. The list looks at troubled banks with the highest percentage of non-performing loans versus assets and reserves. A spokesperson for First Priority says while the institution has shown up on several watch lists, the bank still opens for business every day, and First Priority continues to receive new deposits every day. The spokesperson says at First Priority there has not been any unusual activity in deposits or withdrawals. deposits at First Priority Bank are protected by the FDIC. In Tampa, one bank is promoting their FDIC coverage. The First Community Bank of America has a sign saying FDIC insured up to $25 million.
The phone has just been ringing off the hook with people asking questions about it.
The FDIC only insures most bank accounts up to $100,000, some retirement accounts up to $250,000. But the First Community Bank of America has formed an entirely legal way to help customers with that.
Basically what we do is somebody brings them $1 million or $25 million. We can put it in $100,000 increments and place it among a bunch of banks that are FDIC insured around the country.
What is and isn't covered by the FDIC can be confusing. We have a link with the full list of insured accounts on TBO.com. You'll also find a new tool on TBO that allows you to see how your bank is doing. The new online tool is powered by Bauer Financial, a company that rates the financial performance of banks and credit unions using a star system. 5 stars is superior, and it works its way down from there. 0 indicates a troubled bank. You can log on to this tool at TBO.com. Use the keyword bank performance. As if the news about the banks and housing market isn't bad enough, the chairman of the Federal Reserve also warned a Senate committee about the rising risk of inflation.
We could see an unwelcome rise in actual inflation over the longer term. A critical responsibility of monetary policymakers is to prevent that process from taking hold.
On Wednesday, the latest numbers on consumer prices came out, and they seem to validate the Fed's concerns. The prices we're paying for just about everything have made their second biggest jump in nearly 3 decades. The government reports in just 1 month, consumer prices went up 1.1%. The main reason for that were energy costs, rising more than 6.5%. Gas, home heating oil, and natural gas are all up. One way to look at this is as prices rise, a dollar doesn't go as far, so in effect, we're earning less. But there is a bit of good news. The price of a barrel of oil took a major dip this week. On Monday, President Bush lifted an executive order banning offshore drilling and pressured Congress to do the same.
And as the democratically controlled Congress has sat idle, gas prices have continued to increase. The failure to act is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to me, and it's unacceptable to the American people.
That announcement sent crude prices down from a high of $147 a barrel last week to below $130 on Thursday afternoon. At the time of this recording, oil was trading at $129 a barrel. Even with the executive ban lifted, oil wells won't be popping up anytime soon. Congress must vote to revoke the legislative ban that's been in place for nearly 30 years. Those who oppose offshore drilling were quick to respond to the president. Environmental attorney Martha Collins called on state lawmakers to hold the line on restrictions.
Now that that federal ban is lifted, it makes it that much more important for the state governors to keep the moratorium in place and protect their beaches.